let's carefully walk you through these BGP adjacency issues. So we observe that there is no adjacency. Well, the two big statuses that we would expect to see if that was the case would be idle or active. And I would want you to understand that when you see these, there's a logical leap that you should be able to make right from one of these two. And so what we could do is do extended pings and troubleshoot layer 3 connectivity, but let's look at idle. If it says idle, that means we don't really know how to reach that IP address that you're pointing me to via the network command. So it's possible that maybe you need a network statement advertising the loopback interface. Because a lot of times what we want to do is we want to peer via iBGP to loopback interfaces. So let me show you a little bit more about this. In this case, I have Autonomous System 64500. The best way to form adjacencies and neighborships is in your iBGP, you want to peer to loopback interfaces. But what if R4's loopback interface is not being advertised to us? Well, then we are pointing to an IP address that might exist, but we don't know how to reach it. And so you would correct that issue by going and building in a network statement advertising our loopback interface. It's also possible that your own router, the router that you're sitting on right now, is not advertising, and you would correct for that as well. Now, something that you don't run into all that often, but an issue nonetheless, is that you cannot use the default route as your means of routing to the neighboring IP address. That's just a logical check that is baked into BGP operation, and it's not something we emphasize a lot, but it's something you should be mindful of. So what might you do? Well, you might have to build in some specific route. A static route might accomplish it, but a better solution would be to advertise it within your IGP. And then an ACL. An ACL can absolutely filter, and so what could we see here? Let's go to R4, which we're on right now. I'll do IP access list, extended, filter BGP. Not something we want to do, but it's the name of my demonstration, I guess. I'm going to say deny TCP any EQ BGP. So that's going to be port 179, by the way. Notice that it only took this statement because this one is redundant, and the iOS says, oh, well, we've already got that in the same space, and so it doesn't add sequence 20 because it matches sequence 10, and they are JSON entries. Okay? So if you see filtering TCP port 179 or something that would accomplish that, well, then you would want to make sure that you're opening up for that. And you can also filter based on source and destination as well, and block BGP updates and neighborship and all the communication that goes over the TCP session.